Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorraine. It's spring, sort of, in Nova Scotia. And as part of our book purging thing, we reorganized a couple of shelves. And I realized I had a whole shelf dedicated to nature writing, garden writing, and just sort of related things, both fiction and nonfiction. And I thought, oh, this is the perfect time of year to bring that to you. So none of these books are a couple of them are current-ish, but I've chosen books that I just really like because they have staying power. You can reread them quite nicely. And also with respect to gardening books, that if you want to be inspired for something in your own garden, I really recommend going to your local author. Excuse me. There's a couple locally that I don't follow anymore because I've completely given up on our garden. That is such a long story, and so I don't remember their names, but they are people that would do radio shows on the local TV and so on. And I think if you're in your neighborhood have got someone who is doing that sort of work, I would get their book, even if it isn't the most profound thing or the most beautiful thing, but it is going to be definitely more helpful than if you get a beautiful coffee table book from, Alabama or something like that. Get a book that has to do with your growing zone. And also your microclimate. So if you've got a small urban backyard or something along those lines, then you're going to want to try and get, something particular to small gardens or shady gardens or, whatever. Anyways, what I have here for you is a combination, and should I be focused? I could be focused. It has happened. All right. And in so saying, I'm going to start with, so this could be a bit of a long one. If you get a cup of tea, glass of wine, bottle of scotch, enjoy yourself. Who knows what's going to happen? The first book I'm going to bring to you is The River by Helen Humphreys, and I have spoken about this book before. It is an observational nature writing about the river that goes before her property, and she's in Ontario. I love this author. She's one of my faves, and I actually managed to get it signed, and that's a funny story too. But anyhow, I'll tell it when I ever get around to the Helen Humphreys project that I keep meaning to do. So this is a decade where Helen Humphreys has, she's up on the Napanee River in Ontario, and she catalogs its changes and the creatures and the plants around it. It's both fiction and nonfiction, and there are, adjacent to this, there are lovely images. And, yeah. Helen Humphreys is a poet as well as a writer, so she has got this beautiful lyricism in her writing. She really captures images beautifully, and she really brings it to you. I mean, you can just imagine sitting on the side of the river on a blanket with lemonade and watching her swim while you stay safely away from the leeches and just enjoying her book. It's such a beautifully written book, and you really can feel the cold water on your toes. So heavily recommend The River by Helen Humphreys. The next book I think is really charming is David Attenborough's Life on Earth. This is fairly recent because I remember buying it. When was it published? Around 2018, more or less. This is, well, we all know who David Attenborough is, and if you don't, really Google and watch his shows. He's got some wonderful series about nature writing and nature observation. And this is what this book is about. It's a celebration of evolution with a cast of characters drawn from the whole range of organisms that have ever lived on this planet. I guess this book was first published 40 years ago, so this is a reprint. There are some pictures. We get salamanders and bats and flying frogs and prehistoric animals, fish. He takes us through really everything there is to be taken through, and he is as beautiful a writer as he is a speaker. I don't know whether he does the writing for the scripts on his films, but whoever's doing the writing, it's really lovely. And so I think this is a wonderful book. It's particularly fun if you want to put it on your bedside table for bedtime reading. Just read a chapter and just have beautiful pictures going through your head. Okay, this one is from a local author, Harry Thurston, A Naturalist's Reflections on the Salt Marsh. And I believe he's up in the Tantramar Marsh for Nova Scotia. I could be a liar. He is a biologist in his professional life, as well as a writer and naturalist. And now, as you can see from the tags, there were a lot of things I really liked. He also has got a very poetic way of approaching things. And he's taking, I've read this quite a while ago, and I believe where he lives now as an adult has a very similar ecosystem to where he lived as a kid. And I think, I can't remember what his dad was doing, whether he was a farmer or one of the, what do you call those guys who check out forests, and I want to call them a Land Rover, but that's a car. Anyways, they lived in a similar kind of environment. And so he's reflecting back on his past and on his present and just what's happening with the marsh in and around. And it is also a lovely, lovely book to just have on your bedside table, unless you really like reading through. But I find with nature, I like to take it in pieces, and quite often these authors, they're plotless, although there can be anecdotes in them, but I'm reading them because I want that environment around me. So I find, if you're doing it in the daytime, the phone will ring or the stove will boil over or what have you. So I like to read them in the evenings when there aren't other interruptions. Now this one, we were reading it kind of aloud, and it didn't really work. With Winter Nature, Common Mammals, Birds, Trees, and Shrubs of the Maritimes by Merritt Gibson, Soren Bondrup Nielsen, and is illustrated by Twyla Robert de Coste. And it is also a very lovely book. Again, similar thing, you want to read a chapter here, a chapter there. It's broken down into birds, and another chapter is on mammals. There's small illustrations with it, and a lot of these creatures and fauna are across Canada, so don't think it's just a maritime book. And so it's both informational and I don't know, what's that word for it's not really, well, there's prose in it, but storytelling. It's informational and storytelling. And so that's that one. And speaking of birds, I'm going to interrupt for a second because this is another book I really, really like. The Backyard Book of, what is it called? Backyard Birdsong Guide. So I don't want to lose my page. So it comes in with a little machine. And so I'm going to tell you about the indigo bunting, which we just saw in our backyard. I think it's moved on now. It shouldn't really be in Nova Scotia. It's with the warming of the temperatures and so on. We now see it as an infrequent visitor, and it likes shrubs and weeds, typical of old fields. And the older male dazzles, blue overall, with darker wings and tail, somewhat stocky, and the females have a sort of brownish overall look with a bit of a buff beak. And so here, what this book does, so if you, I love it. You can go outside and go, oh yeah, is that a warbler? No, I don't know. And it'll give you the songs of the different birds. So that's, okay, back to nature writing. I think some of you will like this more than I did. This is Melissa Harrison, The Stubborn Light of Things. I thought I was getting one kind of a book, and I ended up getting another kind of a book. It's one of the reasons I bought it totally was about the cover. entirely impulse purchase based on cover. I thought that I was getting a book about a nature diary, and I thought she was located in the city, and I thought that would be nice because so many of us are in the city, and so many of us don't really see the nature around us. So what she's seeing that I'm not seeing, maybe she's going to bring something to my awareness. And not that didn't really happen. She ends up moving out into the country, and I think, well, it's easy to write about nature if you're in the country and that's your, field of choice. But give me a sit. Yeah, like anyhow, Melissa disappointed me, but it's still a beautiful book in terms of what she does cover. It's British, and she, like the other authors I've written about, some of it's anecdotal, some of it is okay. What's different about this one is she's in the seasons, but it's more day by day by day. So it's more chunky. Oh, that's not the right word. Shorter episodes, I guess. Okay, that's it for nature writing. But then I have this other one that I do enjoy, The Writer in the Garden, edited by Jane Garmy. And these are people who have been writing in gardening books, gardening magazines, and have been doing it for ages and ages. And so some of them are like Catherine Mansfield, or what's her name, Vita West, or Gertrude Yekel, E.B. White from Charlotte's Web. And then some of them are a little more contemporary. And we've got seasons, we've got gardeners, we've got the plants themselves, seasons, harvesting, garden variety. So yeah, anyways, it's quite interesting. Some of the essays are a little more interesting than others, but again, this is a great, you know what this is good for? This is for traffic jams. Put it in your purse, not if you're driving, put it in your glove box, and if you're waiting for the gas station guy, and this is a great car book. Pull it out and read about a garden while you're in a car doing the exact opposite. And the last one I'm going to bring to you, two more. Penelope Lively, Life in the Garden. I really enjoyed this. She's an older writer when she's writing this, and she has first had experience of gardens in Cairo and then moved into England and has had a number of experiences in different gardens in England. And she's just a very good writer, and she's also no nonsense. She's not all about the she's not about like a royal garden. She's about the kind of garden that we would all want to have if, like not so crazy that it's untouchable, but nice, the kind of garden that we would all like to be able to have if only we were not busy with other things. Really enjoyed it. She's got a very light tone and somewhat of a tongue-in-cheek anti-establishment approach to the gardening, and that she wants to be in the garden. She doesn't want to be isolated from it. And the last one I'm bringing to you is a beauty, An Island Garden by Celia Thaxter. It actually comes in one of these little boxes, and pictures and illuminations by Childe Hassam. This is an old book. I've had this for a long time. I mean, it's faded. That's how long I've had it. And this is definitely an old style garden book. The illustrations are old fashioned. The writing style is old fashioned. And where is the garden? I think it's on the coast of Maine, but I'm not 100%. It's just a beautiful book, and it's just a beautiful thing to settle into. And you can really feel yourself on this island, and it's a reminiscent kind of a garden, because there's no way any of us would have this sort of thing nowadays. So I think that's it. When I was at a free library the other day, I picked up this one. It's so beat up that the title is completely washed off, and so I don't even know what the title is, but it's about gardening. There's no title page. Oh wait, there it is. Wet Days at Edgewood with Old Farmers, Old Gardeners, and Old Pastorals. Written by It goes on to say, by the author of My Farm of Edgewood, but it doesn't tell who the guy's name is. Don't you love some of that sort of thing? Like, now I have to go back and anyways, it still doesn't. It's dedicated to, what do you call that? The rights, the copyright goes back to the publisher. Maybe. Yeah, it's dedicated to the publisher. Anyways, it's an oldie. It smells okay. And it's just something I picked up. I have no idea what's going to come my way. So, we'll see. A mystery gardening book. Okay, that's it for me. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to follow your dreams. What was I going to say? I don't know. That's it for me. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true, and that you pick up one of these types of books and you sit in your backyard with some lemonade and your favorite snack and just really enjoy it, and take some bug spray just in case. Bye-bye for now.